Have you ever felt a gentle nudge deep within, a quiet voice that seems to be trying to tell you something important, but you couldn't quite hear it? Voice is not coming from your mind, it's coming from your soul. And right now, it's reaching out to you, waiting for you to pause, to listen, and to understand. In the next few minutes, we're going to explore how to tune into that inner voice, how to hear the messages that your soul has been sending all along, and how doing so can heal old wounds, transform your life, and bring you a peace you may have thought was impossible. This is not about theory or advice. This is about awakening to a truth that lives inside you, a truth that has always been there, patiently waiting for you to notice it. So I invite you to let go of distractions, open your heart, and journey inward with me, because what you are about to hear may quietly change everything about the way you experience your life. The soul speaks in a language that is subtle, gentle, and often inaudible to the mind that is constantly busy with thoughts. It does not raise its voice. It does not demand attention with urgency. It simply exists, waiting for you to quiet down enough to notice. In the modern world, where every moment is filled with noise, chatter, and distractions, this quiet voice is almost impossible to hear. The mind is always moving, always planning, always reacting, and in its constant motion, it drowns out the soft murmur of the soul. To truly listen, one must create an inner space of stillness, a pause where thoughts do not dominate and emotions do not pull you in different directions. This stillness is not merely the absence of sound, but the presence of awareness, a deep attentiveness to what is happening within. It is in the silent observation of your own heart, the gentle noticing of your breath, the calm watching of your thoughts, without attachment, that the soul begins to make itself known. When you are silent, your heart becomes a receptive space, and suddenly you may feel a whisper of guidance, an intuitive nudge, a sense of clarity that is not arrived at through reasoning but through a deeper knowing. This silence is not a task to accomplish. It is a natural state that reveals itself when the compulsions of the mind are relaxed. As you practice sitting quietly, walking quietly, even breathing quietly with awareness, you allow the subtle signals of your inner being to emerge. In this quiet, you begin to perceive the patterns of your own desires, fears, and joys, and the soul communicates not in words but in a presence that feels unmistakably alive, resonant, and deeply personal. The soul does not communicate through logic, reasoning, or the structured language of the mind. It speaks in the language of intuition, feeling, and subtle knowing. It is not concerned with arguments or explanations. It simply communicates through a sense of inner certainty, a quiet pull, or a gentle nudge that directs you toward what is authentic and true for you. Often, the mind dismisses these signals because they cannot be measured, analyzed, or rationalized, yet they carry the deepest wisdom. Intuition is the voice of the soul emerging through the body, emotions, and instinctive responses. It is the inner compass that points toward choices that align with your deepest self, often in ways that the mind cannot comprehend. When you trust these signals, even without fully understanding them, life begins to flow with a sense of ease and harmony. Every feeling of resonance, every sudden clarity, every inexplicable certainty is the soul speaking to you, urging you to follow a path that is uniquely yours. This is why many people experience moments of inspiration, sudden insights, or spontaneous decisions that seem to come out of nowhere, yet lead to profound outcomes. The challenge lies in discerning the subtle voice of the soul from the loud chatter of the mind. The mind thrives on doubt, analysis, and repetition, while the soul communicates directly through presence, feeling, and immediate awareness. By cultivating a practice of mindfulness, self-reflection, and quiet observation, you become attuned to these intuitive signals. You start to recognize the difference between fear-driven thoughts and soul-guided impulses. Over time, this deep listening becomes natural, and decisions begin to arise not from external pressures or rational calculations, but from an inner knowing that is steady, reliable, and connected to the essence of who you truly are. Healing begins the moment you truly listen to your soul. For the soul carries the memory of all your experiences, joys, and pains, holding them without judgment. Many of the wounds you carry, whether from childhood, past relationships, or disappointments, remain unhealed because they have been ignored, suppressed, or covered by distraction. The mind often tries to reason, to fix, or to escape these emotions, but the soul does not need explanations. It only needs attention, acknowledgement, and presence. When you pause and turn inward, creating a space of quiet receptivity, the soul begins to reveal what has been hidden beneath layers of thought and defense. You may notice emotions arising that have been buried for years, sensations in your body that reflect unspoken grief, or a sudden clarity about patterns in your life that have caused suffering. By witnessing these experiences without resistance, by allowing yourself to feel fully without labeling them as right or wrong, the healing process naturally begins. The soul's language is not about curing or solving, but about embracing, understanding, and integrating your own truth. This deep listening transforms pain into insight, confusion into clarity, and isolation into a sense of connectedness with your own being. Over time, you notice a subtle shift. The mind becomes less controlling, emotions flow more freely, and a gentle inner peace arises. The act of listening itself is transformative, for it honors the essence of who you are, acknowledging that every experience has a place in your growth and evolution. Healing is not an external achievement, but an internal awakening, a recognition that the soul has always been whole. And by turning toward it with sincere attention, the mind and heart begin to align, creating harmony, resilience, and a profound sense of inner freedom. When you listen to your soul, you begin to align with the deepest truth of who you are, moving beyond the masks, roles, and expectations imposed by society or even by your own mind. The soul knows what is authentic for you, what resonates with your core being, and what actions will bring fulfillment rather than mere temporary satisfaction. Often people act out of habit, obligation, or the desire to please others, and in doing so, they drift away from their own essence. The guidance of the soul is subtle but unmistakable. It calls you toward choices that honor your individuality, creativity, and inner purpose. This alignment does not mean that life becomes easy or free of challenges, but it means that your actions carry a certain resonance and integrity. When your outer life reflects your inner truth, you experience a sense of harmony and flow that the mind cannot manufacture. Decisions that once felt confusing or heavy now seem clear, because they arise from a source deeper than thought. The soul does not dictate rigid rules. It communicates through feelings of rightness, ease, and alignment, urging you to follow a path that may be unconventional or unexpected, but feels inherently yours. In aligning with the soul, you also release the constant inner conflict that arises when the mind and heart are at odds. You begin to act from presence rather than compulsion, from awareness rather than habit, and from love rather than fear. This process of listening and aligning is ongoing, requiring patience, mindfulness, and courage. But each step brings a profound sense of authenticity. Over time, you notice that your relationships, choices, and experiences are infused with a quality of wholeness and coherence that comes from living in resonance with the wisdom and guidance of your own soul. In the modern world, Life is filled with endless distractions, noise, and demands that constantly pull attention outward, leaving little space to hear the quiet voice within. The soul communicates softly, through subtle feelings, gentle nudges, or moments of inner knowing. And when the mind is overwhelmed by busyness, these messages are easily drowned out. Social media, work obligations, and even the constant chatter of thoughts create a barrier between your awareness and the inner guidance that seeks to reach you. People often mistake these distractions for the flow of life, believing that being busy is the same as being alive, while in reality, busyness can be a way to avoid facing the deeper truths within. The soul's voice is persistent yet gentle. It asks only for attention, not force, and it cannot be hurried or demanded. To truly listen, one must consciously create pauses, moments of stillness, in a space in which the mind is not constantly reacting or planning. Even simple practices like walking quietly, observing your breath, or sitting in silence can help lift the veil of distraction. The more you cultivate this awareness, the easier it becomes to notice the subtle signals of your soul, an intuitive choice, a sudden insight, or a feeling of rightness in a decision. Distractions are not the enemy, but they are a natural obstacle that requires mindfulness to navigate. By reducing external noise and quieting the internal chatter, you begin to rediscover a rhythm that is aligned with your inner being. Slowly, the soul's guidance emerges more clearly, allowing you to respond to life with presence, authenticity, and a sense of inner coherence that cannot be achieved when the mind is perpetually preoccupied with the surface level of existence. Listening to the soul awakens a deeper awareness that transforms the way you experience life, shifting perception from the surface level of daily concerns to the profound currents beneath. This transformation does not happen all at once. It is subtle, like the gradual rising of the sun, illuminating corners of the mind and heart that were previously hidden. As you attune to the voice of your inner being, you begin to notice patterns in your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that were unconscious before. Awareness itself becomes a tool for change, allowing you to respond to situations with clarity rather than react out of habit or fear. The soul does not force transformation. It simply presents an opportunity for deeper understanding, inviting you to observe, reflect, and integrate what arises within. With consistent listening, the boundaries between what is superficial and what is essential start to dissolve, and you begin to recognize the difference between actions driven by ego or societal expectation and those arising from your true self. This heightened awareness brings freedom, not as a sudden escape from life's challenges, but as a new way of meeting them with presence, discernment, and grace. Life itself becomes a mirror, showing the alignment or misalignment of your choices with the guidance of your soul. Over time, this practice reshapes your relationships, your work, and even the way you relate to your own body and mind, fostering harmony, resilience, and authenticity. Transformation through awareness is ongoing. Each moment of conscious attention deepens your connection to the inner source of wisdom, love, and clarity. In this way, life is no longer a series of random events, but a continuous dialogue between the outer world and the inner truth, revealing a path that is uniquely your own, steady, and profoundly liberating. As we conclude this journey inward, remember that the soul has always been speaking to you, patiently waiting for your attention, quietly guiding you toward clarity, healing, and alignment. The messages may be subtle, the nudges gentle, but they are persistent, ever-present, and infinitely wise. By learning to listen, to create stillness, to trust intuition, and to honor your inner voice, you open the door to transformation, authenticity, and profound inner peace. Life begins to flow not as a struggle against circumstances, but as a harmonious dance with your own truth. Every moment of awareness, every pause, and every act of listening strengthens your connection to this inner guidance, allowing you to navigate challenges with grace and embrace joy with openness. May you cultivate the courage to turn inward, the patience to listen deeply, and the clarity to follow the path that your soul unfolds before you. Good luck on this beautiful journey of self-discovery and healing. Thank you for taking the time to pause, reflect, and open your heart to the whispers of your inner being. May your days be filled with insight, peace, and the quiet joy that comes from living in alignment with your truest self.